Hi everyone, it's Emma, and today I am bringing you a lovely flow routine which is going to be great for strength, a lot of mobility as well. But yeah, really nice. We're going to flow from one exercise to another without really stopping, unless you need to. But yeah, grab yourself your mat, a little bit of space, and let's get started. So I just want to start with a little bit of breathing and settling down, connecting the mind and the body. So let's place one hand on our belly, one hand on our chest, and we can sit down on our sit bones. We can be kneeling, sitting back on the heels, maybe even standing for the moment. But I want you to take a moment to close down the eyes and simply breathe. Let the shoulders relax away from the ears and find some length going through your spine. Start to take a deep breath in through the nose. And as you breathe in, I want you to send that air above you, below you, to the sides. And as you breathe out through the mouth, start to feel your belly button pulling away from your clothing. And imagine you have this lovely belt around your waist. It's getting tighter and you can feel those muscles pulling in. Keep that belt feeling switched on as you breathe in again. This time to keep that lovely belt. Let's breathe into our rib cage. So the sides and the back of the rib cage. We're feeling that strong belt still around our waist. And as we breathe out, can we deepen that belt contraction only to about 30% the most? Good. Blink the eyes open, let the arms relax down by your side, and let's bring ourselves into a high kneeling position. So we're going to be kneeling at about hip distance apart. The toes, the feet are behind us, so the shins are down, the toes are untucked. And I want you to feel the pelvis slightly tucking under. So we've got this lovely length through the spine. Let the shoulders drop away from the ears, let the neck be long. And start to swing the arms up in front at shoulder height, palms facing towards one another. And as we do that, sit your hips back towards your heels, like you're hinging your hip at the hips into this like seated squat. And then as you come back up to your start position, so a high kneeling, squeeze your arms back behind you without popping through the rib cage or the lower back, and feel the shoulder blades draw together. We go again, we swing the arms in front at shoulder height as we hinge from the hips, sitting back towards the heels. We don't fully sit back, by the way. And then we come up, we squeeze the arms back behind us. Let's do that a few more times. So getting into the entire body. This is nice because it's working all the joints in the body. We're doing quite a lot. We're moving the shoulders, we're moving into the hips, the knees. And also, if kneeling is uncomfortable here, you can do standing squats instead. But yeah, let's do 4 more of those. Breathing wide and full into our rib cage. Remember to squeeze those shoulder blades together. Let's go 2. And last one, we sit back. Come up standing nice and tall. This time we're going to hinge from the knees. So the arms swing again in front at shoulder height. And we hinge from the knees. Imagine you're a plank of wood. You hinge back. As you come up, the arms do the same. They swing back behind us. So we're not sitting back this time. Like I said, it's just like we're dropping back from the knees. Try not to let the head hang back or lean. Just try to hinge. How many times am I going to say hinge? But yeah, just imagine you're a plank of wood and you're trying not to bend at all. And we do that a few more times, and as you do this, really feel the legs, feel the glutes contracting in especially as you come back up as well, to bring you back up. Let's go 4. Breathing wide and full into the rib cage. Can you still feel that lovely belt around your waist? Let's go 2. And we got 1 more. Good, we're going to put both together now. So, well, kind of. We're going to sit back into our heart, like our little kneeling squat. Arms go in front. We squeeze as we stand nice or kneel nice and tall. Then we go into our hinge. We come back. We lift tall. We go back into our squat. Arms go forwards. We squat back. We come up. Arms swing back behind us. We lift tall. The arms swing in front. We hinge back from the knees. We lift tall. The arms go back behind us, and we just keep repeating. So flow through this in your own time and just feel and notice all those joints working. So notice how the knees are feeling, maybe how the shoulders feel when you squeeze them together. Is there some tightness or any pain through the shoulders, kind of like tension? Good, and just notice maybe each time you start to find a little bit more range of movement. Good, on this last squat, hold your hinge back through the hips. So it's like your upper body is trying to tip forwards over the hips. The hips are pushing back. And I want you to simply swing the arms back and forth. So here we're trying to like hover in between. So having to use that center to stay stable. We're feeling the legs and the glutes working, and we just keep swinging the arms. As you swing the arms, almost imagine that you are in water. So you know when you have that light resistance in water, that's what you want you to have, this sense of pushing through this light resistance. And then on the next one, keep the arms back behind you and give me tiny little pulses. So the arms are back, roll the shoulder blades back and down, and let's pulse the arms together. Again, they're planks of wood, so you're not bending at the wrists or the knees. And we try to clap our hands behind our back as we hinge back through the hips. And we breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out for 5. Breathe in for 5 and out. And let's do that 2 more times. And out. This time, face the palms up. We're pulsing up to the ceiling. We breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. Tiny little pulses back. Good. We're hovering in between with those hips. Good. Keep the arms squeezing back at the highest point you can hold it without your shoulders rounding forwards. And we do crisscross. So it's like you're trying to get one arm over as one arm goes under. You separate the arms and then you try the other one. Other arm goes over, other arm goes under. But we go quicker. We breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. So toning through the arms into those shoulders. Couple more rounds here. Good. And then when you're ready, lift nice and tall. Swing the arms over and bring yourself onto your hands and knees. So bring the hands, and it's up to you here. You might want to be up on the fists. You might be okay with your hands spread nice and wide on the floor. And just adjust to what you need. But hands are directly underneath the shoulders, shoulder width apart. Knees are underneath the hips, hip distance apart. Toes are untucked. Excuse me. And we're going to round the spine all the way up. So we feel this lovely pulling in of the belly button. We feel the shoulders drop away from the ears, so we're not squeezing them up. We feel our tailbone, our head, our chest tuck under. And then we go the opposite way. We're not sinking through the back. Instead, we're finding length. We're trying to reach our tailbone, our chest, our head to each top corner of the room. And then we just flow in between. So we're still putting those abdominals in, but this is very much about getting some mobility and flexibility in the spine. So it's just really nice to sometimes move through this just to release any back pain or tension. Good. Find a flat back for me, and this time we're going to swivel. So it's like you're creating a C curve at each side of the room. So you swivel the middle part of your body one way, and then your tailbone and your upper body swivels the other way, like they're trying to meet, like you're trying to look over your shoulder, over your back towards your hips, and then we go to the other side. So we're bending from the waist. We're trying to curve our head and our tailbone to meet in the middle at the side. And we just keep playing around with that weight from right to left. And again, this is just getting that movement in the spine. Good. And then stop in the middle where you've got a nice flat back, and maybe just shift the weight back and forth over the wrists. Maybe tuck the toes under, stretch the toes out. Again, we've got this little bit of movement through the hips, but now stretching out the wrist joints and the toes. Good. When you're ready, sit all the way back. We lift nice and tall. So moving in a similar way to what we just did with the cat stretches, but we're going to add some abs in now. So flip yourself around so you're on your sit bones. Shimmy right to the front of your mat so your feet are at the end of the mat and you've got length behind you to roll back, or space behind you. Feet are about hip distance, and the knees, the hips are all in line. Take your hands behind the back of the legs and let's pull ourselves up nice and tall. Let the shoulders drop away from the ears. Really send that energy into the feet. So can you feel both feet pressing equally into the mat? From there, start to curve like we did for the cat stretch. So we start to tuck our tailbone under. We round our spine back, slightly tucking the chin. Straighten through the arms and feel the elbows lengthening out as you scoot back. Find those abdominals. So really think about those hip bones rolling in towards the hips. And then we'll come up in that same C curve until the shoulders are over the hips, and then pull on the legs and see if you can slightly lift through the chest. So try not to drop back through the head, just the upper body. And then we go again, we flow back. So I just want you to repeat this a few more times, just really moving through the spine, opening out into that extension. And maybe you can take the arms off and have them in front. And as you come into your extension, you can maybe open them to the side. But otherwise, continue holding on to the legs. And maybe each time you can roll down a little lower. But either way, just flowing through. Good. And you might want to stay with this. Otherwise, roll down to where you can. Maybe it's halfway, maybe it's a little more or a little less. But find that point where you feel some abdominal work going on, but nothing too much. See if you can take your hands away from the legs and hold like an imaginary football in your hands. Twist from your waist and see if you can place that football to one side of you. Come back to center and then swivel and place it to the other side. It's really easy to trick ourselves and just move the arms and not move the whole upper body. So I want you to really think about twisting from the waist. As we turn, we're getting that work into our obliques, our waist muscles. And we just keep going from right to left. Now, as you do that, keep that curve in the spine, keep the shoulders away from the ears. And again, find that connection through the feet. Can you feel both feet still grounding down into the mat? The knees are not swiveling back and forth. And let's just go a couple more times to each side. Hip bones, the pelvis is really stable. Good. And then when you're ready, you can use your hands and we'll roll all the way down to the mat. So bring yourself down onto your back for our last little section here. So I want you to interlace the fingers behind the head so that the thumbs point down the back of the neck. The elbows are not completely wide out to the side, but not hugging in too much either. And find the feet in the same position as they just was. So they're grounded into the mat, hip distance. They're not too close. They're not too far away. And let's draw our back down so we have this lovely neutral spine. So there's maybe enough gap for our fingertips to fit underneath our back. Our hip bones are nice and level. And we'll take a nice deep breath in through the nose. On the exhale, pull the belly button away from your clothing as you nod your chin into the chest. Find length through the neck as you come in. Imagine you have a lemon underneath your chin, so you don't want to squash it, but you don't want it to roll away. Keep it there. As you now lift your chest towards your legs, peeling your spine to the tips of the shoulder blades, and then inhale, slowly roll back down. So again, take a deep breath in. On the exhale, nod the chin to the chest. We're peeling bone by bone off of the mat. And then we'll roll back down. Remember, we're not pulling on the neck. This movement is coming from the abdominals, so really allow them to lift you up. Good. On the next one, can we stay lifted? If this is uncomfortable, you can always skip this bit, but see if you can curl up. You're now going to take your right hand and you're going to swivel from the waist and try tap that right hand as the palm faces up now to the outside corner of your right leg. And then come back to center, hand goes back behind the head. And then we swivel from the waist to the other side and we try to reach our hand to the outside of our left ankle. So right hand goes to right ankle. We come back to center, left hand goes to left ankle. And it's like we're trying to peer around the legs. So we're tipping from side to side almost through the waist. This is not a twist as such, it's more a side bend. And let's go 4 and 3, 2 and 1. And we come back to center, lower the head down and place the hands onto the hips. Good. Step the feet in so the heels are underneath the knees. And let's start with a nice little pelvic tilt. So let the back of the head, let the shoulders rest into the mat. We'll take a deep breath in through the nose, and on your exhale, we'll slowly flatten the back in towards the mat and feel your hip bones rolling in. I want you to find this flat back and just breathe into the rib cage as you hold. As you find your flat back, let the shoulders still press into the mat. Don't let your neck arch. And then release. And we'll do that a couple more times. Maybe starting to lift your tailbone on the next one. But just feel that connection with your deep abdominals. Almost massaging the back as you rock your hips in and back out. And then this time flatten the back and slowly peel off of the mat bone by bone. Let's come up to a nice lifted position, like a slide. You've created a slide from your knees all the way down to your shoulders. So the weight is on the shoulders, not the neck. Tuck your pelvis under a little more. Find that length through the lower back. And then slowly roll down bone by bone. We feel the upper back, the middle, the lower. Maybe we close our eyes and feel that a little more. Let the shoulders relax into the mat. We find our neutral spine again, and then we go again. We flatten the back and we peel bone by bone off of the mat. Make sure you're letting each part of the spine come up bit by bit. Find that lovely bridge. Tuck your pelvis under a little more. Feel the glutes and the legs fired up. And then again, slowly roll down. Let's do this 2 or 3 more times. And again, find that connection through the feet as well. So really pressing into those feet as we roll up. Try to think about the abs working, and then it's only really when you get just after halfway that you start to feel the glutes and the legs kicking in as well. So really important we don't just fire up for the glutes and the legs first. Let those abdominals do the work too. Let's go one more time and let's see if we can hold this last one. So we'll roll through the spine, bone by bone coming up. Find your bridge and then Roll onto the outside of your right foot, let the knee open and then squeeze back. Try not to lose that bridge. We go again onto the other side. We maybe hold onto the hip bones still and we feel that they're nice and solid. They're not tipping, they're not moving around. And we just keep repeating this a few more times. So we've done our squats or our kneeling squats, but that was moving back and forth. So now we're getting this side to side movement, working around the outside of the hip, the glutes, inner, the outer legs. When you're ready, bring the legs back to parallel, drop the hips again. We've got this hinge. It's like a nice little variation on our kneeling squats. We're letting the hips drop down about halfway, and then we're squeezing back up into our bridge. We go again, we let the hips drop down and we squeeze back up. Starting to feel those glutes maybe nice and fired up. We're keeping a nice neutral spine now. Let's go 6 more times here. You're still breathing wide and full into the rib cage. I can definitely feel the glutes. 4. And 3, can we squeeze a little bit more? Let's go 2. And let's go last one, big squeeze at the top. And then slowly roll down bone by bone. And hug your knees into the chest. Have a little rock from side to side, back and forth, almost giving your back this lovely little massage. Maybe just circle the legs away from one another, towards one another, and just feel the hips releasing. Place your feet down to the floor and find a nice comfortable position for you, whether that's a full body stretch, bent knees, whatever feels good. And let's come back to the breathing we did at the start. Maybe placing one hand on the belly, one hand on the chest. We'll take a deep breath in through the nose again. As you breathe in, almost feel that sense of a bell starting to release. You can let it relax as you fill out the entire body. And as you breathe out, close down the eyes and feel yourself melting into your mat. Only taking a couple more deep breaths in and exhales out here, but allowing that time to enjoy the stillness, the sense of not having to be anywhere or do anything but be on your mat. We'll take one more deep breath in. And as you breathe out, leave any last bits of stress and tension behind. Blink the eyes open. And you are done for your lovely little flow. So I hope the legs, the hips feel like they've worked, but also the upper body and the spine as well. I will leave a breathing video on screen. So if you'd like to do, I'll leave breathing or meditation. So if you want to stay on your mat a little longer and do some of that, then that will be ready for you. But yeah, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you next week for another one. Take care. Bye.